Alright, I'm going to get back onto my laminating. So if I take this piece, do the zigzag, so when it squeezes down, it's pushing the air out and filling in with epoxy. And where you go up against the next one, you end up with a bit of a mess, and that's why you have the other pipette to suck away the material. These are small enough, so should be fairly controllable. There we go. There we go.
If you want to leave a message for Bonnie, Dyke, Phyllis, Elliot, or Kayla Molly, do so after the beep. It take up to 2 minutes. If you want to leave a fax, press star 51 and the start button after the beep.
I'm sucking up all this extra material, put it back into the container. It's not just the price, it's just a mess if you don't. Because you don't want to be chipping this stuff off or cleaning it up any more than you have to off the surface after. You know, when you wait 5 years between projects using a material, you got to remind yourself of the subtleties. And, you know, I've been welding, I do fused glass, I draw. There's lots of things that I do that aren't laminating with Hyxtal epoxy. I have used it in some big windows. Ones in Pittsburgh, Nashville, did one up in Andover, Mass. In a temple. The yoga barn up in Chilmark. Grace Episcopal Church, I did a Jerusalem cross for them about 5 years ago. That's the last time I used it in quantity. And this stuff is great for repairing things. Like, the Getty Museum uses it to replace valuable pottery that's broken, ceramics, glass. I've repaired things and you can't even tell where the seam is sometimes. It's incredible. Alright, so I got to hold this together, try to get rid of some of this material. And as long as you clean it up at the right time, like the next day, or it's actually several days later, I can still hit it with a razor blade. It'll get so hard that it'll be very hard to remove later. But I got it so that I wiped it with acetone the next morning to get any kind of real lumps up. And then you're just talking about like a film that can clean up with acetone later. There's no point overdoing the cleaning too soon, because it is wet, and so you'll be dragging up some of the uncured material. You got to get the timing right, and like I said, you know, once I'm doing it again, you get into the rhythm of it all. It's like anything you work with. Welding. If I don't weld with TIG welding for a long time, then you just have to get into the practice of using it again. It's very different than MIG welding, which is basically pulling a trigger. TIG welding is two-handed welding. And there's just a rhythm of applying heat with one hand and the filler rod with the other, and it's like soldering, which I'm really used to for doing leaded glass windows for years, and I've restored many windows with the leaded glass. So you're soldering with lead and tin, which is solder made out of lead and 60-40 lead and tin. I'm glad not to be using that material, because that's not really good for you. And I do wear a respirator and I wear gloves now, but still. Alright, so that one's down, and I'm going to tape it. And I not only tape it to the edge, but I tape it to the between the two pieces so they don't move as much. And they really are wet right now. This is like, will just move so easily. Yeah, that's ready to roll out. There we go. Get it to the table, move it out this way. And like I said, I can have hours to get this. I just don't want them flying off the table. Sometimes I'll be shoving over here and the whole thing will be going off the end up there, and you don't want it rolling over the edge of the glass because it'll be hard to clean up. It's smelly and expensive. So no point in wasting anything. I mixed a little too much the other day and I had to throw it out. It's just a few dollars worth probably, or maybe it was $10 worth. I don't know. Probably not that much. But when you spend $250 to get a 2-pound system, you don't want to be wasting anything, because then you have it for the future. All right, that's good. Here's the third piece. I'm not going to film the entire process because this takes hours. I just really trying to let people know this stuff doesn't just happen magically on its own. There's so much labor involved in the different things I do, whether it's the welding of Birdman last year. I tried to document that pretty well. Just take hours to do a piece. This laminating takes time. Cutting the glass takes time. I'll run this one out to the corner. Do another little bit over here. There we go. You just squish it down so that you know it's completely wetted on the back. And then you take and get up some of the extra. There we go. That's probably better angle. I did move. Yeah. See, I'm not holding them in this direction. I just have it from cruising this way, but it did go back towards the corner for a minute. Once I get this next one down, it'll be less likely to move. So I have a corner that's secured. That's good. I'll do one more, and then I'll shut it off. There's no point in showing every piece. It's going to take hours to do this, most of the day. Move this piece of tape over here. Okay, do one between the two. This first hour, it's just very, very, very slippery, so I have to make sure everything's taped really well. As it hardens a little bit, it just makes it a little less of an issue by the end of the session. Could be 4 hours, but it really doesn't harden even till the next day where you can't move it anymore, so it's great. Okay, I'm going to plop this one down. Boom. I don't know. Yeah, it looks good. This back end here, a little bit more material here. Here we go. Just getting it off the surface. There's a little bead that squeezes up, and we don't want to have to deal with that later. Okay. That's good. Okay, that's good. You can see where this is going. I'll do this piece, then I'm going to shut it off. Okay. Zigzag. Squeeze those bubbles out, and if they don't squeeze out, you add a little material, push down, and then it fills it right up, especially at the beginning of the gluing because it's more liquidy. Oh, it filled up the whole thing. Now I have to get rid of material. Okay, that's good.